We live? We're here? All right, a little impromptu end of the garage giveaway live stream here in my garage at my house. I figured it appropriate to bring in here, and we'll kind of talk through some audio, some video, some countertops, potential cabinets, tools, all the things that you could envision, or things help you envision what you could choose. Kyle's here to help us kind of lay the groundwork. We'll look at the pressure washer system and kind of show you some of the things that could be in your garage. So it ends tonight, 11:59 Eastern, 11:59 p.m. Eastern tonight. So there's no carryover. We have very specific rules. We have to follow the rules that we set in place from the beginning. And if you go to the website, go to the garage design page. We have a few items. We have this is my new favorite shirt, the green LZ shirt. So we have three different colors of each, I think. So we have the Colette OG collab shirt. We have the LZ collab shirt. We have my new favorite shirt, which is the garage design shirt. Those are on there. We have some other items as well. But I didn't want to go heavy tchotchke on this one. I wanted to go heavy on giving the option you can become a member of Inside the Hex, which I think you really going to want to consider this time of year. I've got a lot of business discovery stuff that I'm figuring out personally, and I have 3 or 4 Hexcast videos I'm going to sit down and record in the next few days. Just talking about learning about how to buy a building for the first time, and then of course doing my normal vlogs, as I've shared a lot about my my fitness and health journey here as well, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of more stuff there. So if you become a member of Inside the Hex, that counts toward the entries. I don't think we've ever had a Inside the Hex purchase be the qualifying purchase for a winner. So I have a strong sense, my gut feeling, although I've always been wrong on all the states. My gut feeling is that someone in Canada is going to win, and somebody that became an Inside the Hex member is going to win. And the other option is you can just buy digital entry, which is, sorry for the legal people, but it's basically a raffle ticket that you can buy online. But it's not a raffle ticket. It's like, what does Elon say? Not a flamethrower. So anyway, that's enough of the initial commercial. But what we wanted to do here, or what I wanted to do, I just spent, we'll have a day or so, I just spent the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, getting it back up to speed. And so I titled the video, How to Have a Dialed-In Garage, or How to Stay Organized When You Have a Family. Because I threw Michelle and the kids under the bus a little bit. I said, Ryan's probably a 5 out of 10 organization level. Kate's a 4 out of 10, and Michelle's probably a 6 or 7 out of 10, and I'm a 10.5. Now, again, in the video, you'll see this in the video, that doesn't make me better. Actually makes me much worse off, but yeah.
I don't know. Better to have it than not, I guess. It's on your face. Well, yeah, Wi-Fi's back, because we're back now.
Look at that. All right, we're here. We're going to switch our HDMI cable, display, and source. This is directional cable. So if you put that in there.
So source, listen to that.
That's the source.
We'll do the fastest HDMI swap in existence.
Wait a minute, because I got.
Yeah, you got to tilt her back. We're in limbo mode.
And you got all the cable you can need.
NASCAR pit change for the video.
The worst stream ever.
No, we've done worse than this, for sure.
Pass.
Yeah. It's not a good HDMI. guaranteed it's this cable. It's
Yeah.
probably too long. Alright, patch me back in.
What is that?
Yep. Or we put it on, backwards. We may put it on backwards.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's alright.
We got a long lens. We can,
All right, are we live?
everyone's freaking out. Freaking. The chat came back since the Wi-Fi came back, and there was like 80 chats in there, and we come back.
All right, sorry about that. So we have this wireless Teradek thing for the Red camera, which is awesome, but it destroys the internet for some reason. It just,
It's like when you turn a microwave on and the Wi-Fi goes out.
Yeah.
It's just like 80 microwaves at once.
yeah, I don't know what the heck that is, but it worked for a while.
Yeah, I think we just need to repair it and change the frequency. Like, to not be-
Yeah, so anyway, we're gonna go, we just put a longer lens on, and we're gonna go HDMI with the cam link, so we shouldn't have any issues. I was just saying, my internet here is pretty bulletproof. Not super fast, but super bulletproof.
Stout, you know.
Yeah, it just freaking works all the time. So,
Teradek will challenge any Wi-Fi network.
anyway, did they hear any of what I said earlier? Someone in the comments, did you do another commercial here?
Can I get better Wi-Fi in my garage? The guy said with the garage build.
It's not the Wi-Fi, people. It's the
It's this little box on the red camera.
yeah, the fancy little box. So anyway, we went back to C70 and the and HDMI.
We're tethered now.
I'm really I need to become sponsored by Mountain Valley. Mountain Valley, if you're watching, which I guarantee you're not, because no one else is watching either.
They definitely left in the beginning.
Yeah, they definitely.
They came in, they're gone.
Yeah. So I've got a service and they deliver it to me. It's freaking awesome. So I get the little bottles, the big 5-gallon bottles, and plus this. It works out great. So anyway, as I was saying, we had cleaned up the garage. Well, I had cleaned up the garage because, you know, living life. This is where we enter and exit the house, right? Just like most of you. I mean, we come in through that door, we exit that door. And, you know, part of my argument with the house is that, you know, we don't get to just, I don't get to just put the obsession in this drawer and then go inside. And so I'm interested in the house stuff too. But what I want to do today, Kyle, if you'll help me do this, I wanted to talk about what it would be like. Now, what do you think this garage is? 180K, 200K, something like that? So this is going to be a little bit above the pay grade of what you're going to win. So we have, yeah, let's just think about this realistically. So we have cabinets in here, and countertops was probably retail was like 40, I think. It was 30 something for the cabinets,
Yeah.
low, and then low 30s, and then the countertop was like 7 or 8.
Right.
Right.
And then custom backsplash and all that, which ended up.
Yeah.
bumping
Oh,
that
that's
up a
right.
little
That's right. The backsplash was
That
another
was-
5 or 6,000
yeah.
bucks. Yeah. Yeah. And then we have probably 20,000 bucks in audio. We'll go through all this stuff specifically. I just want to give a ballpark. So we're at 40, 60 tools. You know, tools in here. We probably have another 40 in tools between Sonic
Right, and then all your other
and
stuff.
all Milwaukee.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
so we're at
100.
100 plus flooring is like $5,000, something like that, or
3
yeah,
or 4.
it's like 980 square feet or some 900 square feet in here,
Yeah,
something
so,
like that.
So yeah, almost about $5,000 then.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
And then you have the openers, that's another 10. So we're at like 10,
115.
115. Dual Krenslas, there's 120. And then we have, you know, all the detailing stuff, another, say 10. So 130. So let's just say,
Lights.
Yeah,
another
yeah, 100
7 or 8.
it's about 150 grand. So we're not that far off from what somebody's, you know, garage is going to look
Yeah.
like, you know, to be able to do, you know, all this kind of stuff. And we're going to be, you know, where you can take and do a nice audio system, but I mean, this is like heritage specials. We don't even sell those.
Right.
And dual, I have dedicated amplifiers and stuff like that. Now, I get to buy this garage, let's say it costs me maybe half of that, not quite half, let's say it's 40% less than that.
Yeah.
So, I'm spending, 75, 80 grand to put this garage together. Now, we give you these numbers for context. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just want you to understand what you get for your money.
This is what it is.
Yeah, just real simple number. So, this garage, but we have a lot of work too. There's a lot of labor in here that I don't have to pay for because of Mike. I did the span, which cost quite a bit of money just to do that thing, just to make it look pretty. So there's some things in here that, to get this all together, painting and all that stuff. But we're going to be able to get you, if you win the garage giveaway, something very similar to this, dollar-wise, price-wise. And so,
Design-wise,
yeah,
layout, all of that.
yeah. So we can go through this whole process, the mini split as well. Yeah. So I think this garage is probably $150,000, $175,000 worth of stuff in it, to give you from blank canvas to where we're at. And so when we're talking about the garage giveaway winner, it's an $85,000 garage. Especially if somebody's garage maybe isn't quite as big. Mm-hmm. If it is a little bigger, maybe we won't be able to go quite as concentrated. Maybe we'll help them, sacrifice a little bit. Maybe again, we're not doing Sony Signature Series. Maybe we get a basic LG display.
Right.
We do some nice LEDs instead of or cores. Yeah, and we can kind of decide what somebody values most to really make their garage amazing.
And to give you kind of like context, the average client that we deal with is spending $20,000 to $30,000. We've got some that are way beyond this garage, and then some that are just buying flooring and lighting. But so an $85,000 garage is still like incredible compared to even what just like the average OG client is buying. So
yeah. But the beauty is we're going to show up there and at the winner's place, and we're going to do drywall. We're going to have to cut drywall probably. We're going to probably put some drywall in some instances. And depending on what the person's garage, what we're starting with, on where we can allocate funds, and what we're going to do is, so when you win, we'll fly you down. We'll probably have discussions beforehand, but we'll fly you down, sit you with the team. I'll be there as well, and we're going to go through. All right, what's your canvas? Mm-hmm. What do you have? Gosh, I hope somebody wins that has a garage. Because this whole process is. If any of you are ever fortunate enough to hire Kyle and us and our team, man, it's such a cool thing to be able to do, and it doesn't have to look matte style, right? Even this garage is a lot different style than what I've done in the past, and that we did white cabinets, we did the Rubio monocoat here on the tops. I tried this black backsplash. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to tend to err on the side of no color, but we can do color, we can do anything you want, really.
Yeah, especially through like Rousseau or like wall colors or whatever. I mean, a lot of the garages that we design look very different from this.
Yeah.
Because we're more, flipping it and doing, a darker ceiling and a brighter floor, and
but who knows?
Plus is black.
Maybe somebody wins that wants a 2-post lift, and we could we could put that in there. Maybe they want 2-post and dry ice or something. Maybe they prefer to have that. I'm game for whatever. But I think the key. So when we're starting out, how would we start? How would somebody start the design generally?
So we have the garage design page on the site. So on that, Bryce and I worked mostly Bryce worked a bunch on that to get it, simplified, and that's really your starting point. We've got a couple videos on there that give you an idea of what to expect in terms of, how to reach out to us. We've got the garage design service that you go on and purchase. It's $2,500. We're not an architecture firm. We're not going to design your entire building and all your HVAC system and that sort of thing. But as far as the layout of all of our products, we're going to consult and design and provide renders and documentation and technical drawings and everything that you would need to know. So purchasing that garage design service product or just reaching out to us, designing it at obsessedgarage.com, and then we'll let you know what you need to do. Or,
So for them, let's break this down. Okay, so what's the first thing? Do you start with lighting?
I mean, the first thing we do is we get the structure into place. We try and make it as accurate as possible.
So let's use this garage as an example. We know this is 24 by 35 and change.
With some little cutouts.
Yeah, we got the little bump out. We do have 11-foot 4-inch ceilings, so that's what makes this feel a lot bigger than it actually is. But this width, you can see, I can open up all my doors almost fully. I have room to do my attic stairs and my attic access. I have room to put some cabinets on the side. We have room to do our full depth cabinets. Right. But if you're advising somebody like me, and I show you with this blank canvas, I say, I really love cabinets. I'm a bad example. I love pressure washer. I love the floor. I love the lights. I'm not willing to compromise anything. But some people are going to have, what I don't value in this garage is I'm not doing mechanical work in here because I have another place for that. So I don't need a lift, so we can take that out. I don't need to deal with that kind of stuff. I'm not going to be doing a lot of maintenance in here. Yeah. So where would you start with me in this case?
Getting your take on what you're going to be doing. Whether you're going to be detailing focused or mechanic focused. Because that's going to tailor, how we spec out the cabinets, and whether we're doing a ton of tool drawers, or whether we're going to do some more bulk storage, like a 5-drawer, 4-drawer, or something like that for larger, polishers and stuff like that, or for you, both,
So for me, the first thing most important to me is lights. To start. And so let's talk about these lights in here and what we've learned in this process. So. First thing was we went vertical. Right. So that was something that you talked me into, because what tends to happen is I tend to so I'm the customer. I was the customer in this case. I didn't design this array. I didn't design the lighting layout, but I was pretty adamant about what I wanted, and then you guys kind of talked me into some things. And so I knew I wanted this row here over the cabinet array. I knew I didn't want any recessed lighting because I wanted to stay with attic access, because I wanted everything surface mounted. I didn't want to cut a bunch of holes and deal with losing my attic space.
Yeah, and the original plan, because you wanted this back here and we wanted to keep everything consistent, we wanted to do everything horizontally, if you will, left to right. And because you've got the magic stairs and attic access, and then the lift, and then all of the garage door rails and stuff like that.
We were breaking it up too much.
It just wasn't working the way that we wanted to do it. And so in most garages, as long as you have a jack shaft garage opener and not a center garage opener, we really like to do the lighting this front to back ways, because then it allows you to separate the space into a couple different zones if you want to. Whereas if you do one big long thing across, now you have to kind of turn it all on together. So doing it this way, now you have the 3 lights over there that you can have as a zone for the 2-car space, and then you've got the 2 over here that you could have for the 1-car space. And then you can, have any kind of variation of that.
And the way that we laid this out functionally, even with the garage doors open, we're getting still maximum benefit, maximum performance, even though there's going to be some shadowing from the doors.
Right, because the lights are going this way. I'm not just dealing with one light there and one light here and getting whatever, comes out of that. But wherever that garage door comes to, now that light is extending as far as it possibly can, so that way there's less of I'm not cutting off 30% of the lights in the garage. It's just maybe the tail end portion or something.
So we failed to mention, these are Cree LS fixtures, and in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 8-foot fixtures. So, and these were, what were these, 12,000 lumen?
10 just in this section, and then we've got 13 because of these, right?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I was just saying on this section. So we have 10 8-foot, they're 12,000 lumens a piece, they're 5,000 Kelvin, they're roughly 90 plus CRI. Now remember, there's something called CRI, what is it called? CRI Extra or CRI Advanced, where
1-step, 2-step, or 3-step SDMC or something like that is like the new thing.
The new type of chip.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is the measured light spectrum. So
Yeah.
the traditional CRI ratings that you get from light fixtures is R1 through 8. And then the extended version of CRI is R1 through 15. The hardest R value to produce from any LED light fixture is R9. And so what happens is the reason why they rate them from R1 to R8 is they take an average, and it's easy to get a 90 or 95 CRI fixture, because R9 is the one that, you know, on a cheap light can be like 30 and throw the whole. So you have 90, 92, 93, 94, 98, 97, and then 30. And so then your CRI comes down drastically because, you know, an R9 is is a particular hue of red, which is really important for our eyes. And so lights like this cost a substantial amount more, but we're talking about a decent light being 180 bucks versus one of these being what, 330 or 350 or
355. I think.
Right. So you're talking about a little less than double the price, but we're talking about $180 difference for a 50,000 hour plus multi-decade light fixture, maybe not multi-decade, but at least a decade light fixture that you're going to spend a little bit more. And so you have 10 of these at 350 bucks a piece. You're $3,500, which is a lot of money to spend on just these vertical lights in your garage. But I cannot explain to you. Right now, we have it in flamethrower mode. We overlit this garage. We're probably at 130 foot candles right now.
Yeah, I think 130, 140.
Right, and so I don't run it, I normally run it at like 70%, you know, so 30% dim is where I normally run it. We're running it full
But you have
output.
that headroom where you can.
Yeah, if I'm
bump it up.
detailing or if I'm shooting a video, or, you know, if you were working on under the hood, you're going to find yourself using lighting, supplemental lighting a lot less often. And so you'll notice in this space, in this garage, our shadowing is pretty much non-existent, with the exception of in the corner because my bikes are blocking a little bit. But we have essentially no shadowing. And then we have, you know, I have under cabinet lighting as well. And then the concept of this garage is I did want a horizontal above my countertop, so when we have our 90-degree flood, I'm able to cover the vast majority of this section of the area. We got an accidental result here in that I'm able to watch TV a little bit better because my light is being cut off to some extent by our shelf above. But the concept I wanted to try in this garage was I wanted to get rid of any sort of garage door opener lights and then do motion sensing.
Yeah.
Now, the discovery I figured out was the motion sensors from Lutron are designed to work 10 feet or below, or 11'4". And so normally in a garage, if your ceiling was 10 feet, you could put one sensor in the middle, good to go. Well, what we found is that that extra 1.5 feet was outside the purview of the sensor, and so we ended up doing 5 different sensors in here. So the way that it functions, and it functions really, really well, by the way. So there's one sensor over here above this door. So as soon as I walk in at night, let's say I was walking in, night, day, doesn't matter, we set it up to where just that light, because what I didn't want to do is come in from, you know, nighttime driving and then bang, it's, you know, 130 foot candles. I just wanted some, say 70% dim, one section of the light bar as far away from the garage door as possible, just so that I had a, you know, well-lit location. Plus I wasn't wasting a bunch of energy. So as soon as I walk in that door, bang, oh, it turns on. Same thing, if I come this way, I'm going to take something out to the recycling bin or something, bang, light turns on because I have a sensor right above that door.
Right.
Same thing happens here with if this garage door opens, that sensor grabs it, or that garage door opens, that sensor grabs it. Now the thing that we underestimated was, well, what if I'm in here for hours and I'm over where Bryce is, if I'm over in this location, and let's say, you know, I'm in here piddling all the time, that sensor can't get me, that sensor can't get me, that sensor can't get me. So then we put 2 more above our work area because you want the lights to turn on, but you also want them to stay on.
Yeah,
so I didn't want them to time out on me, right? And so that's something that we learned in this process. And that costs, I think they're like $100 or something like that. So it costs $400 or $500 for that convenience.
Fortunately, they're battery powered. They're just like a Pico, basically,
Yep.
and they'll last, you know, 10 years or forever.
Yep.
And so you just put them wherever you need to.
Right. And then this is part of my, this is on my Raw 2 Select setup, my system. And so I can control all this lighting from my phone as well. And then we have essentially the way that this lighting works. If you haven't seen the videos, up in my attic, we've got 3 POW packs. The POW packs control the lights. And then we just sync. These are actually, this looks like a normal box, but these are actually set up on a wireless Pico. So it's just a little remote control that just sticks to the wall basically. So I don't have a big giant hole. And then normally I would run the garage at this lighting level.
Yeah.
So this seems a lot dimmer now because we just went from, from full bright. So I'm running this is about 30% dim. This is a comfortable, if I'm doing anything, if I'm washing my car or doing any detailing, anything specific, I'm gonna crank it up to 100%. But most of the time, I'm gonna have my under cabinet lighting on, I'm gonna have something on the TV, I'm gonna be piddling around in the drawers. And so, to me, lighting is key.
Or if you wanted to, you have, the Pico that controls just this strip here.
Yeah.
And if you are working on
Correct.
something, but you don't want the whole entire garage lit up,
I'd say 75% of the time I'm in here like
and
this.
you could just turn on this and then do your thing over here and then walk back in the house.
I'm in here like this because it comes on automatically. I don't have to think about it. I know it seems dark on camera, but if you come from 0 to this is better lit than pretty much any garage you ever see anywhere. And then actually, this is still at 70% dim. So if I took the one section and went full bright, most of the time, if I'm not messing with anything in the cars and I'm just over here doing something, I'm gonna go with that. I think the moral of the story here is we've learned a lot of lessons over the years of what it's like and what lighting should be like, what it could be like. And then you guys are gonna see when we go out and do this garage in Santa Barbara area that we've taken lighting even to the next level there with supplemental DMF lights, different color temps, different types of lighting for depending on what the application was in the place. But this, to me, this is the light that I've been searching for forever. If you go to the website and you look at the lights we buy from Prime Lights, I've said from the beginning, it says right in the disclaimer, right in the description, look, I like these lights, they're nice. It's not what I'm hoping to have long term. These are. But to do this, to light this garage with Prime Lights, maybe we get somebody who wins the garage, says, look, lighting's not my thing. My cabinets are my thing, so I want to allocate the money to that. I want to do a full custom Rousseau color or something like that. You could do this for, again, roughly 50% less. And so we could have lit this garage. What we would have done is probably 9, Prime Light, 6 bulb or 4 bulb fixtures, and been able to light this extremely well, just with a lower CRI output, lower color rendering index quality, and just a different, maybe
plenty of brightness.
Correct.
But no real control over dimming and stuff like that, which I think is one of the big pluses for these. So.
And so this garage, the style of this house, I stayed, white ceiling. Plus the imperfections and the drywall work and the way that this house was done. This was not a particularly high-end home. I think they built this house for probably $500,000 or something like that. So they cut some corners. This was a spec home for the builder, and the builder ran out of money throughout. And so I didn't want to go black because it would have really shown all the imperfections of the ceiling. And so white is a little easier to do.
Yeah, the black has become really popular. Most of the garages that we spec out, we do the black, but the biggest thing is just making sure that you do interior flat.
And then back roll it, spray it or back roll it,
Yeah.
And you got to do high quality paint. You got to do some, Sherwin-Williams cashmere or Benjamin Moore Bend or something. You can't just go and get the cheapest, Home Depot or Lowe's stuff because it's not going to roll out as nicely when you do black. And that's the thing, if you're going to do black just like a black car, it takes extra work to get it right.
Yep.
So then we made some additions in here. There's a few other things I'd like to do in the future to help with the lighting. We did the jack shaft openers. We don't sell those. They won't let us sell them. There's I don't know why they can sell them on Amazon and why we can't, but there's liability or something. They just weren't interested in allowing me to have us sell them. But the jack shaft openers are like $400 a piece, something like that. Mike did the install.
They're like 800 or something, but
and then getting that thing out of the center gets rid of the shadowing. And what I'd really like to do for the openers or the garage door tracks, I'd love to go high lift at some point here. That would then, if my garage doors come to here, create a shadowing effect when I'm in here with the garage doors open, which is rare for me because it's either too hot or too cold here. Right now it's too cold. But imagine if the garage door high lifted and came to here, it wouldn't create as much shadowing when the doors are open.
It's going to go up and then come over, so it's not going to protrude as far into the garage.
Right. So then the other thing in this garage that was really, really important was to do a mini split. And so we sized, this is slightly undersized. Florida, our biggest issue is humidity, not just heat. And this above here is not insulated. The attic area is not insulated from the garage, so it's pretty inefficient. So I want a really efficient conditioner, but I want it to work a little harder. That's been the advice of my air conditioning guys at Kalos. So this is a 24,000 BTU in a
Mitsubishi, right?
Yeah, Mitsubishi 24,000 BTU. You probably, if you were sizing it properly, you'd probably do 32,000 for 1,000 square feet with the ceiling height we have here with the volume. But the recommendation was to run a 24,000 BTU. It would run a little more often, which would help dehumidify it a bit more. But I'm telling you, I just let this, right now the heat's on, so it does an okay job at heating. But I run it all year round, 24/7. And I just manage the doors, go in and out quickly. Yeah. The only byproduct I will tell you is in the heat of the summer, it's really freaking annoying. It's almost as annoying as the winter. You can imagine what happens when I drive out of here when the car is 72 degrees and it's 98 outside. It's like a freaking, you can't see. So I have to sit out there and defrost. I have to defog in the middle of the summer, which is totally counterintuitive, right? So just keep that in mind when you do your mini split or you do your conditioning in your garage. And you'll also, if you're a crazy person like me, if you're obsessed, I obsess over keeping the doors closed. Get in, get out, don't leave the door open, So it does weigh on you a little bit that I get penny pinching on that, energy. Because it takes a long time for it to get back, to fight back, especially if it's really hot out. For it to fight its way back.
It's probably almost less the penny pinching for you, just more I don't want to have to wait for it to cool back down.
No, I get cheap on some things, man, and that's one of the things I get cheap on is air. I don't like to waste air. I don't like people using more than 2 squares of toilet paper. I don't like people rifling through Bounty. I don't like wasting soap. I don't like wasting food.
There must be some bleed over. It must be some bleed over from your parents growing up and stuff.
I don't know.
AC and toilet paper.
I get really, it stresses me out. So then, next logical step is because you would do flooring next, I think, right? So pick your paint color.
It's funny. We kind of design in our software the same way that you would install in the actual garage. The very first thing you need to do is lights.
Yeah.
And in our software, in the 3-dimensional space, we have to put some lights in so that we can see better and stuff.
Yeah.
So the same thing, we put lights in first, then we do floor.
Right. Yeah, so lighting, and oftentimes you have to put the lights in so you can paint, and then you have to mask the lights, which is annoying. Yeah. So then we choose flooring. In my mind, and we're going to be working on developing a porcelain tile here coming up at some point. I've got some stuff that we're probably going to do in the new HQ from Dow Tile. I don't know why I can't say that word. Dallas is where they are, Dow Tile. But they have this really amazing, concrete looking tile that we can do. So in my world, you're doing porcelain tile, which can cost a pretty decent chunk of change, or you're doing plastic interlocking tile. Polished concrete costs, to do it right, $8, $9, $10, $12 a square foot. So it costs twice as much as this, which is counter to what most people think. And so that's why everybody does epoxy, topped with a polyaspartic or a urethane coating, and then they throw the chips down. You can do that. To me, there's a few major disadvantages, especially if you're a paint guy, if you're a detail guy. The reason why they throw the chips down is to take your attention away from the fact that the floor is jacked. I mean, they're rolling, they're walking around with spiky shoes to try to help with imperfections, but your entire floor is just one big fat imperfection. from 20 feet away in photos, when you're walking with your head held high, it looks great. But if you're like us, and I look at the floor, it's terrible. You know, and I don't care how much money you spend. I did this crazy one that I did, the one time I did it personally, it was a complete disaster. And every floor I go and see, I know many of you have, and I'm not disparaging your choice because we have so limited of choice. If you don't like this, and you're not going to spend, you know, $20 a square foot on porcelain tile, your options are rather limited, and so then you go to this, you know, epoxy, and then what we see people do, they put a black tarp, you know, or big black plastic over top because you can see the, you know, the yellowing of it over time, or, you know, the issues of slip, you know, they're slippery. And so when you put that urethane or polyaspartic top coat on, what they do, which does help, is that they go heavy chip. That helps with skid. But if they put anti-skid, which is basically putting sand in it, then it's a dirt magnet, you know, and you can't really clean it properly again.
It's like a weekend, and it like looks like.
Right, and then almost every home in America has water under the slab, which at certain times of year will come up through, and you end up with, you know, failure points. Now, many of you have gotten lucky, but there's a good 20-30% probability of failure at different points. I mean, if I told you had a 20% chance to fail, that's a pretty high probability. So in my world, the magic of Swiss Trax is that because it's 3/4 of an inch thick, it doesn't click and clack. It doesn't feel like plastic tile. That's where race deck, I always had a problem with it because it would click, click.
Night and day difference.
Or closed tiles that don't have an open face. You know, it kind of defeats the purpose of it, but they tend to curl up at the connection point. So you end up with clicking and clacking. And then it's always clean.
Yeah.
I've not vacuumed this one time yet. We've been here for 2 years.
You have one little thing right here.
And you can just pick it up.
Clean
That's
floor.
the magic of it. And then, you know, I'm boring, so I do black and gray all the time. This is my favorite finish, slate gray, but you can do whatever color you want.
Yeah.
We can do white, we can do pink, we can do green. In this garage we're going to, there's a green stripe in it. You can do yellow, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can do some terracotta looking brown, and so you can do whatever you want to do.
Some of those can be kind of cool sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
depending
we've
on
had
how
people do Burberry patterns. You
Don't
know,
do that. Don't do that.
checkered floor. Not my recommendation, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And the magic of this is that with us in Central Florida, the big issue is sand and oak leaves. Those little baby oak leaves would blow all the way to the back of my garage. Doesn't happen. Just the other day in the video, I just walked around and just kind of picked them up by hand. Occasionally, I'll get the vacuum out and deal
Or I'll
with that.
use my ego and just blow them out if they're in the front.
The other magic of this install of this garage took us 3.5 hours, something like that, for 1,000 square feet. Super, super simple, super easy.
If you move or leave or whatever, you take it with you.
Good luck with that. You know, one piece of advice for any one of you, if you're going to sell your home, if you're going to take photos and put them on, first of all, what I make my realtors do is put the garage as like the second photo. You have the exterior, and then the second photo is the garage, right? Because it makes it so distinct.
Right.
So if you have a dialed-in garage, you have a distinct advantage. But no, if you're going to take photos of it,
People are going to want it to stay with the house.
it'll be a 100% deal breaker.
Yeah.
So the guy that bought the Harbor Hills house wanted the air compressor. He's a
Yeah.
doctor, doesn't even know how to use a Phillips screwdriver. You know, he's like, I want that. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. We're going to leave it there. And so everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
You know, and so yes, you could take the flooring with you. No, I don't think many people are going to let you. What's it doing? Check, check, check. All right, so we talked lighting, talked flooring, we talked paint color. What's our next thing? Is it cabinets?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on. It really depends on the layout. Usually cabinets or maybe pressure washer. Pressure washer, and from a design standpoint, is usually pretty easy because we just have a architectural block that we're able to just put on the wall.
So most of the person who's likely to win this, like Emmanuel's garage, we didn't have it right where we needed it. And so we're probably going to cut some drywall, do some drywall work.
Yeah.
I remember that when we did Emmanuel's garage, it was like, oh man, or Ed's garage, Ed Bullion's garage, Vinny Wiki. I'm like, man, how are we going to be able to do this? You know, and now we've, you know, literally taken an entire house apart and put it back together. So it doesn't scare me as much to have to do drywall and
custom install is like the easy part now.
Yeah. At the time, it was a scary thing. But let's talk cabinets.
Yeah.
And so Kyle doesn't want me to say this, but if we want to do Lista, we can do Lista. So we're a Lista dealer. We're going to stay a Lista dealer. I'm just not going to promote Lista. So just to cue everybody what happened, the Lista has been my dream. You know, so I've been dreaming of having Lista cabinets, you know, since I'm probably late teens, early 20s, something like that. And I'm like, man, Lista, I don't know where I heard about it or where I found them, but I was like, man, someday I want to get me some Lista cabinets. It's going to be awesome. This is before it was purchased by Stanley Black & Decker.
Yeah.
And so that was always part of my plan. When I got the brown house on the lake, when I started the YouTube channel, this is before I even started the channel, I'd gotten quotes from Moduline and Lista, and there was something like $20-something thousand or something, or you know, and I wasn't balling
These
hard
days
enough
it'd
to
probably
get
be
that.
like 40,000 or something.
Yeah. So it was an array basically just like this, because that garage was, that garage was 20. I think it was 22 by 24, so it was 24 feet wide. It was an oversized
Is that where you did the silver
Correct,
Sabre
so I did
cabinet?
Silver Sabre, yep. But I wanted, and I had a Lista drawing from them, and then I got the quote. It was like, you know, $22,000, something like that, and it just wasn't in the cards for me yet. The Sabre array was $4,500, and it was like 80% of the way there. So this was me fulfilling that childhood dream, and you know, we had to deal with you know, long lead times, which we chalked up to just simple, you know, issues with COVID and supply chain and stuff like that. But what we found is that the Lista of old is maybe not quite the Lista of today.
Yeah.
And so,
I think
you know,
the
we had some
product is
tolerance.
still the same. Still.
Yeah, we had some tolerance issues. We had some, you know, and I just thought that that's what we have to deal with. You know, in the industrial world, we deal with that a lot with Cox. We deal that with Krensler. We deal with that a lot in the industrial space. Even Cree, you know, we deal with. They haven't built like this bulletproof customer service platform because they don't need to, because they're selling to skyscrapers and you know, and baseball stadiums and stuff like that. These guys are selling to the Navy and
government facilities.
Yeah, they're selling to, you know, industrial facilities where they're manufacturing stuff, where they're going to beat the crap out of it from day one anyway. And so, but I still want that professional grade stuff in my garage. But I've already admitted this several times where I made a mistake. We should have done Rousseau from the beginning. I had no idea how together Rousseau has there.
From a company standpoint, they are so organized and just incredible.
And then fit and finish is better. The options are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But things like, even things we discovered on the Lista, like this goofy lock thing here, like I don't have a lock. I don't want a lock. And so we ordered no locks, it won't have a lock. Well, no, it has this plastic thing.
Yeah. It still ended up having the latching system.
Right.
But they put it into just like this weird little unfinished plastic thing. So it's like, well, we might as well just done locks.
And the tricky part from our perspective, from a business perspective, outside of the potential of, you know, tolerances outside of what we're willing to deal with, and then trying to order, we don't know 100% what we're getting when we order, because their system is so complicated and there's so many layers to try to get an answer, that I decided to start looking into Rousseau, and then shoot, man, I screwed up. I should have gone with them from the beginning.
Right.
And so from a cabinet perspective, I think that your choice is going to be, if we can do Sabre, let's say somebody gets, you know, doesn't value cabinets as much, just wants to allocate their money to like 3 lifts or something like that. Or wants to go crazy with Utopia lighting, the level above Cree, or wants to do a crazy audio system. We could maybe, you know, concede and do something a little less expensive, maybe a little smaller on the cabinet range. So you could do Sabre. We could do Sonic MSS, which would be similarly priced to Sabre, maybe a little bit more. The beauty of MSS, completely modular, doesn't have to mount onto the wall.
Self-supporting.
That you could very easily take with you. Or Sabre, you're really going to want to mount to the wall to make it look as good as possible. And then we have the two high-end options, which would be MSS Plus and Rousseau.
Right.
We could do Lista. If you had your heart set on Lista and wanted us to fulfill that dream, we could do that as well. We'd have to start planning right now, and we'd probably get it later this year. So that would be the tricky part. We'd get it in October, and we'd have to, factor in that we're probably going to get some stuff that's wrong, which means we would have to then plan your garage even later. What are we doing? Is it working? Okay. So cabinets, I'm obviously a drawer guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste the real estate. I want my lower cabinets to be all drawers, 100% of the time. And then I want to be able to do different levels of organization, different types of organization, like tool grid. We can do things like Sonic's, foam inlay. And then you'll notice on the listas, I've added some things to make it fit precisely. And you can also do organization stuff like, Rousseau has this as well, where we can do some of this. Notice another problem I have with these are supposed to fit perfectly, but they don't. So I had to put a divider in here, and now it doesn't quite fit perfectly. So this is why I've abandoned, the Lista idea. And we've spent hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of hours building
worked
out
on
Lista.
SKUs and configurations and planning for, a year?
Yeah, so the combination of all the stuff made us abandon and move on. But we do want to be, we want to figure out a way, what's the best way to organize. Maybe you really love doing working with tools and woodworking or something like that. We can set you up with, Milwaukee Master Collection, and so we can make some choices. And I don't know, I get a bad rap, but I usually get a little handsy on the inventory and start handing out stuff. That's something I'm not cheap on. Is man, if we could
counting toilet paper squares, but
I'm handing out Merca polishers to people. Yeah. So I like to take care of my people that take care of me who participate in the giveaway. So I could be convinced that maybe we get you MSS Plus or Rousseau or something, and the lit relifts. We'll see how it goes. But cabinets in general, I like symmetry personally. And so with my garage, I wanted it to be as symmetrical as possible.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the layout of the space. Like, say that was a unbroken wall over there, and that was, you didn't have room back here to put cabinets because your garage wall is here because you have a 20-foot garage. Well, that would be the wall we would put it on. I would say over there, because you've got your door coming out, that if you had a big, long array, I probably wouldn't put a locker cabinet right here. I would do like your workbench and then a locker at the end, so that way when you walk into the space, it's open and like available to you. Because subconsciously, if I were to walk out of a door here, I'm like shut off from the cabinet array, and I have to walk around. So that's where like a symmetry follows, I would do form or function rather than form, and then the form follows that and it looks correct, especially subconsciously when you actually walk into the space.
So in my setup here, I'm centered on the 3-bay area, right? So I'm centered on the main section, right?
Right here, yeah.
So I'm centered on that back wall is what I'm centered on. Is how we set this up. And so you do have to make some concessions. This doesn't have a big flat back wall like I'm accustomed to, and so I made some concessions on how that looks and how that's set up. But doing stuff like these 1540 millimeter wide with the big tall drawer, the big long drawer, is stuff that I like to do. And then, like I said, having as many drawers as possible. Now, the disadvantage to doing more drawers costs more money.
Yeah.
drawers are where the money is. That's what Lista always tells
Well,
us.
at least with Lista and Rousseau, it's substantially cheaper to do like a door cabinet versus a lot of drawers. Whereas with Sonic and even Sabre, like they're almost like subsidizing the cost of all the cabinets and just kind of making everything a similar price and averaging it out.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, a door cabinet that was this size versus this with, I think this is what, 12 or 14 drawers or something, it would probably be half the price.
Yeah, yeah. So then I made another choice in this garage. I'm 6'2", so like, you know, Kyle, what are you, 5'10"?
5'8".
So you wouldn't want your cabinets this high because, you know, so I wanted to capture as much counter space as I could.
Yeah.
So I can reach up there. Now nobody else can.
Well, and that's with, you know, the adjustability we have with Lista or Rousseau even is like, okay, well, I would have just done a shorter cabinet.
Yeah.
Or bring these down further, but I probably would have just done a shorter cabinet and capped it off at the top of the lockers or something.
Yeah. So we can make those design choices, and that's the beauty of Lista Rousseau. We can go full custom. You know, with Sonic, you're stuck with what they got.
Yeah.
You know,
these are the SKUs that you have to choose from,
Yeah,
which for most people works out awesome.
I can't make that choice to put the cabinet at a different height. Now, I think there's probably something similar. This is 22 inches from base to bottom. But the cabinet choice, the cabinet array, cabinets are generally the biggest single expense in the garage.
Yeah.
You know, mine's pretty close because of this crazy audio crap that I chose. But the biggest single expense, other than your cars, is going to be the cabinet choice.
Depending on the garage, sometimes the lighting can be the biggest expense, especially if you're doing like you have like a garage condo or something like that, and you want to get fancy and do some utopia or something. You know, we've had several garages get into the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 range on lighting.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, they're only doing, you know, a little, you know, 20-foot array of cabinets, and it's, you know, 20, 30 grand type of thing.
And so, you know, keep in mind, people, that we're talking about, like, this is this garage here is an unrealistic garage, you know, for 99.9% of the population. And I think what what Kyle was talking about is the, you know, 2, 3, 4 steps above this.
Yeah.
But imagine you're, you know, you have to put yourself in the shoes of certain people. Let's say you're a guy, you risk everything, and you started a chemical manufacturing company or something, and you grew it to 3,000 employees, and you sold it for this insane amount of money, and now you want to build your dream. I mean, that's who we're talking about. And the beauty of the American dream is there are lots of people that's happened to.
Yeah.
You know, where they took risk, they built something special, and then they were rewarded for it either by, maybe they became CEO of something and got a giant, multiple 8-figure bonus or something crazy like that. These are, those people aren't, there's quite a few of them in this country, quite a few of them in this world. And so when you see people driving these crazy cars, Lamborghinis and Ferraris and things like that, we're the people in the world that have that expertise on teaching people what their garage should look like and bringing professional grade into the garage because of all the work we've done, and even just figuring out which way the light should go. And the only way we know is doing it wrong. Doing it wrong, and then there's a better, or maybe not wrong, but hey, maybe let's adjust this. There's a better way to do it. Yeah. And so then countertops are another thing where we can choose all different types of countertops. I went with this really cool. This is I always get this wrong. It's not mahogany.
Walnut.
It's walnut. Right.
With Rubio monocoat and tinted walnut and black.
Right. Because walnut naturally is reddish.
Yeah, a little bit more red than this. Yeah.
Right. And so this helps take
like
the red.
Like Helen.
Yeah.
The Helen house is.
Helen is more of a natural look, natural finish. So we did this is roughly 1 3/4, and then we ran the span here. I think my countertop is 22 feet. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's pretty awesome setup here. And then the cabinets, I think actually would be the last thing would be your array or outfitting the interior of the cabinets. So let's talk pressure washer for a minute. Does anybody have any questions, Bryce, that I should answer before I keep rambling?
Not really.
Okay. Is anybody actually watching?
Yeah, it's 320 people.
Oh, nice. Make sure you go, accessgarage.com, get entered. I mean, it's going to end tonight. I'd say, let's see, we've sold about $165,000 worth of stuff, let's say at a 50% margin. So, but $175,000 worth of stuff, let's say if you spent, $1,000, you got really good odds to win this darn thing. So we're going to basically cover our cost, roughly is what we'll cover. Hopefully we have a big night tonight where people, come at the very end like we usually do.
So one guy was just saying, like, how do you manage people who don't want the OG style? Please don't take it usually because they don't come.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't, Bryce said, what do you do when somebody doesn't want your style, want the Obsessed Garage style? I mean, we've done tons of different looking garages, but clean is clean. And maybe they do some brick, or maybe they do some color, a splash of color.
Or some wood accents.
Lots of people have art on the wall, or they have banners on the wall.
Yeah.
We've done tons of that. I mean, look at Ed Bullion's garage.
The nice thing about our style is that it's like a great starting point to be able to add your own look to. Like Ed Bullion, he added all his speed limit signs everywhere and stuff like that.
And the
so
big Vin Wiki sign. And
we may not like all the neon and stuff like that, but you could add that to something like this if you really
we've
wanted
done
to.
designs too. I mean, you can do the one thing we're not probably going to be doing a lot of is like the classic car style, the checkerboard. But even then, it's very easy to douche it up. It's real easy to make it ugly and hideous. But part of, I believe, our job is to help men avoid some of those pitfalls. And I've seen some garages that look interesting with some neon on the wall and stuff like that. I just think that less is more, and so we can help people with a style of that. One thing we're never going to do, we're never going to do hex lights. We're going to talk people out of that.
People are starting to catch on that those aren't as great as Instagram makes them seem. I've talked to a lot of clients. They're like, I definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, or if you get them the lighting, we just talked about how amazing lighting and how terrible it is. Yeah, but the style is subjective, and I think the biggest adjustment, a lot of people will do like a chair rail and do like different color, and do different colors on the wall. Yeah. They'll put their car's logo on the wall, stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but it's the whole point here is to be able to provide people a resource on all the professional grade stuff. Mm-hmm. The style is the easy part. Yeah. The hard part is what we're going to show you right now, which is the custom install. So I'm 100% sold on this. I've been using it for 6 or 7 months now, something like that. But the concept of doing dual machines. So when you do dual machines, you gain a couple of things. You gain redundancy. Mm-hmm. So if one machine were to go out, I'm still able to wash. And then I also gain flow, substantial amount more flow, which is completely unnecessary. It does, in some instances, make it a little bit harder for like one-handed operation, but just changes, which is what this whole thing is all about, the user experience. Yeah. The user experience is so much better in rinsing, in cleaning, and especially with my transition to doing pre-washes, I get more efficient pre-cleaning, and then I actually much prefer this setup than doing the big 20 millimeter KWS. It's quieter. It still has on-off functionality. There is a little bit of risk here in that I could have some backfeeding, some cavitation that could theoretically happen if one of these things blew up and it backfed into one of the pressure washers while I was running. It could be a problem, but unlikely, especially as bulletproof as these are. I think that this operation, this sort of dual system, I'm going to continue to chase and then hopefully work with Krenzl long term to get them to help us make like a dedicated system, where we have dual pumps in series, where they're serviceable, where you can take one out, operate on just one at a time. But this adds, it adds roughly about, let's see, the normal setup is say $33,000, $3,200 To add the other pressure washer ends up adding about $2,000, to the setup.
With all the valves and hoses.
Yeah, so
and
for the additional stuff that you need. So you're say $5,500 for the setup as shown. Creates a bit of a problem. Come on in. What's up, people? Did you guys win or no? Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Second place is the first loser.
What the heck? What about this girl?
Silver medal.
Come on in, people.
Oh,
Oh, no,
dog.
no, 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 no.
Chase's buddy was
Chase
out
is
there.
in trouble. They got busted. They're down the street together, partners in crime.
Uh-oh.
So, good news is we're developing a solution. So, in order for this to work, this is the reason why we have valves and stuff on it. If I'm going to use CR, so I'm going to do spot-free rinsing, I've got to turn one of the machines off.
Yeah.
This is at the limit. The CR is at the limit of capability when you're using a Krensla. With single Krensla, so duals, forget it. You're just, water's shooting right past the darn filters. They can't keep up with it. But we're building a system that would pass or flow 10 gallons a minute, so it would easily be able to handle this. And we also wouldn't be rifling through the resin because we're gonna have quite a bit more resin, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of resin in our system. And my working prototype is in production as we speak. And it's gonna look like a Sonic MSS Plus cabinet. It's gonna be really, really sick. But this is, I think, the cornerstone of the garage in making it functional, and that I can have a great experience. I've got good lighting so I can see what I'm doing. I've got cabinets with all my tools and everything organized. I can wash my car. We get you great buckets, put a bucket filler in, put some shelves so I have easy, quick access. And then, as you can see, I'm still working on all my bottles. We design and set it up for, for your height. So if there's a Kyle, we probably want to do the shelves in a little
Most of the
different
time,
position.
we just do these two.
Yeah.
But
And so the long-term goal also, I'm working and I've been obsessing over this for years, to get a matching set of bottles. You can see we still have issues with the adhesive on the Tarex. So things like that is part of our constant pursuit to chase functionally excellent and to chase performance and chase a better user experience. Putting the foam cannons on the on the wall somewhere makes them clean and nice and have easy access. And so doing things like this, or putting the bucket filler in. Cut it out, buddy. Oh, that's Jetta. You want Jetta to come in here? No, you have to stay in. Back it up. Back it up. Come over here. Over here. Back it up. Sit. No, you're cheating it. You're cheating the system. Back up. You're not allowed outside because you've been running away. Move it. Come on in, Jetty. Come on in. Oh, shoot. Chase, get over here. Get over here. Chasey. Jetty, come on. Come on, Jetty. Come on, Jetty. Come on, Chase.
come on, guys. Hi.
All right, take it easy. No humping. So, yeah, custom installs. Oh, boy, there they go. That's not my dog, by the way. Mine is the orange one, not the white one. So I'd actually taken some of my bottles over to LZ compound, so I'm about to make a list of what I'm missing here so I can be doing wash and talks over the next several weeks. But having doing something like figuring out, okay, I need to mount my hose bib at 48 inches to a 24-inch hose so I can easily fill up buckets. Mm-hmm. And so at the LZ compound, I've been washing all these cars, I don't have a bucket filler. You take things for granted, but we never had something like this in the past, which can really make a difference in how things perform in the garage.
Sometimes it seems like an extra thing or like an excess or something like that, but it serves a functional purpose to make the experience better.
Mm-hmm. And then making the choice. So, we have many people that, this is the $250 T316 stainless hose with Prevost fittings on it, which is completely unnecessary. But, in this one, we made the concession we couldn't fit the really expensive, the P114 prior, hose bib that we did. I did one of those at HQ. We make some concessions sometimes because of the distance in the wall. Like this one, we had to do the little close coupled because I didn't have the room on the wall. But making the choice to buy this and then I'll have this forever. This will last for years and years and years, versus we do make a hose version for $20 or $30 or something like that. And so we kind of take a bad rap at times for being, expensive, or what do they call it, overpriced garage, or, elitist. It's not about that. It's about the pliability of this T316 stainless hose combined with how often I use this. I really value that. I'm gonna spend some money on it.
That's the key, is the value that you've put on that, and the using it and the functionality of it.
Yeah.
For you, it's worth it. For most of our clients, it's worth it to do that.
And if I wasn't there, I would be thinking about it. At some point, I've got more. I don't, I've maybe, checked off some of the boxes of some of the other things. I got the car I want. I got the wife's engagement ring taken care of. I've got insurance. I've got my safety account, fund set up. I now have, my 401ks maxed out. It's Christmas. I'm going to buy me a $250 bucket filler because I use it all the time. Yeah. And we have people doing that all the time. Or I'm going to buy a $300 set of buckets. And all I'm doing is buying this thing and then marking it up like 40% so we can make a profit to go find new stuff. And that's hard to believe, but it's the truth. And or in this case, like these shelves. So these are T316 stainless, which cost twice as much as a 304. I always did 304s, but then these can't get a ring on it, which is a nice experience. And so making those functional choices, and then making the choice to buy a Viper chair that costs a lot of money. It's not about the money. It's about can I afford it without sacrificing other things in my life that are more valuable, and then what am I going to benefit from that? Yeah. And sometimes those returns are diminishing. We talk about with that DMF lighting a lot, or some of these Cree lighting stuff. Are these 2 times better than the prime lights or the OG regular lights? Probably not, but they are certainly better. And can you quantify that in your value prop or your value subset? So then we set up this little area here for garbage, and so it made sense to me to have garbage here. It's close access to the door. Yep. Kids are walking in, throw their milkshakes and bull crap in here all the time, which works out well. But we do have quite a bit of egress space as well. And so we're always thinking about that when we're designing a garage. What about opening doors? Right. What about parking cars? What about garage, garbage cans, stuff like that? With
Emmanuel's garage, the giveaway winner that we had, a few years ago, we had to turn his 2-car garage into a 1-car. And he was okay with that because of the functionality that he wanted and everything. But most 2-car garages like mine, they're not really big enough to put cabinets over there, cabinets over there, cabinets over there. Yeah. So they end up having to be 1 car or whatever, because you have to be mindful of opening doors and stuff like that. So if you want to be able to have certain functionalities, well, all right, how many cars are you going to be putting in there? But just being mindful of that spacing is something.
Well, we were able to think this through in talking about our walkway in our overhead magic lift. I can leave the car in here, bring the lift down, still have room.
Like earlier when you dropped that down.
Put the stairs, and so planning out where those things are going to go, not just cabinets where they're going to go, but other things. Where's my charger going to be? In reference to where my car is going to be parked. Where are my outlets? If you're building a garage from scratch, a lot of times you can choose that. Don't put the electric panel in the garage. That tends to drive people crazy. You put it in a utility room, put it on the outside of the house. It's maybe a pain a few times. You kick a breaker and gotta walk outside, but I'd rather that than oftentimes they'll put the breaker, the box right in the center of the array of where your cabinet array would want to be. So then I had set this up as washing and then working. And I use, the tools in here all the time. But again, I have a working garage with a lift and everything over at HQ. And so my circumstances were a little different. But I think that's the key messaging here. Whoever wins the garage is going to have a unique set of circumstances. In Emmanuel's case, he leased a car and bought a car, and the leased car sits outside, doesn't care about, and he wanted to have more room so he could detail and do fun things in there when he was in there. and he was sort of landlocked, and his house was his house, and that was the garage that they provided. I liked the house more than make the area more than making a sacrifice to move out of town to go get a bigger garage.
Yeah, I think his was like 21 wide and 22 or 21 deep.
Right.
Something like that.
And whereas, I decided to live out here in the middle of nowhere and I can get a big garage and have, some land to do stuff. So then from there, so we picked our cabinets, we did our custom install, you're gonna choose your lift. We talked about lighting. Now you're gonna outfit your cabinets. You're gonna put stuff in it. And so in my case, this is my, microfiber and polishing pad cabinet. This here, if you've got enough HDMI, this here is my master collection of my Milwaukee tools, of which 50% of the tools probably aren't going to get used, but you never know. Whenever I need a stapler, I want a frickin' sweet stapler. And so to me, that's a value prop. Got my charging for my Ego stuff. We do have the, have a shop vac, a Milwaukee shop vac. And then having all these tools available to me is a choice. It's an expense. It's a choice. It's something that I really value. I've got what I call the master as well. I use this stuff all the darn time. Having a setup here where this gets me in trouble all the time, where I have one of them's missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tape measures. And a digital one, 9, 10. You never know. So I have metric, I have regular.
Plus this one.
Yeah, that's 10. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I got 3 different levels, but sometimes I need a 40-footer, 35-footer, and so I bought every one that they make, and then figured out which one I like. And then these were the ones that made the cut. Oh, I forgot to put a screw in that thing. Somebody was messing with this in here. But then, outfitting your drawers, outfitting it with all this stuff is something we help people with all the time. So what would you say? You spend a decent amount of time, Kyle, working through building out their tools, kits, and deciding what, Milwaukee tools and things they're going to do?
Yeah, Milwaukee and Sonic a lot. Most of the guys that we work with, the design clients we have are like, the best customers of Obsessed Garage. So they already have all the different detailing packages and stuff, or they just already know what to buy with that, but they always need help, figuring out which tool or inserts to get, or which Milwaukee, packages and stuff like that.
So my long-term plan is to be able to, I like the Sonic tools. I want to love them. I want to love the tool setup, and so I'm in the process of purchasing and going through all these 300-page catalogs of all this cool stuff, and then figuring out a way. We're going to try to outfit whatever cabinets will make a dedicated Sonic, dedicated Rousseau, array of foam, where we have all the best tools, or at least the tools that I like the most, all curated and outfitted. Just like those spray bottles over there have different stuff from different companies from all over the place. We do the same thing with tools, same thing with audio, same thing with all the parts and pieces of the garage. Curate it, piece it together. And, if the one talent I have in this world is shopping for stuff, and that shopping, every single one of these things in this garage has been countless hours of chasing, and then you guys figuring out how to share it with people and put it on paper or on, in a 3D rendered walkthrough so people can understand it. The other thing that I have in this garage that I really, really love is the AV experience. And so the way this is set up, well, if you can kind of turn the camera around so you can show you. So this garage has my beloved Dynaudio speakers. I've been testing out some other outdoor speakers, which have to go up, we have to install outside. But I've got an NAD receiver with 2 different amplifiers. So I have 2 C298 NADs. I'd say these are mid to high end, on the upper side of mid-end, amplification. I wanted a basic 5-channel receiver, and then because I have some pretty power-hungry front speakers, I wanted to do passive speakers in here just to have something different. The garage over at HQ has Core 59s, which are Dynaudio studio monitors that are powered. So I just have a preamplifier there, but here is a receiver, and then amplifiers for the front stage. And so the front pair has a C298 on it, and then the center channel is the Contour Center, which matches the Heritage specials on the bookshelves pretty nicely. But that combination, so the amplifiers are one amplifier for the pair and then one bridge for the center channel. And then I did full 5-channel surround in here, so we have 2 Studio Series Dynaudio rear speakers in the ceiling, and then the core subwoofer, which you guys can't see, is over on the corner over there. But audio video to me is important. I value it. This is the biggest splurge expense. Now I'm cheating a little bit because I'm a Dynaudio super fan and I'm a Dynaudio dealer. And so this system here is probably pretty price for the amount I use it and the amount it costs. I don't know that I would have done this unless I was a dealer, but I would do some version of this in the garage, because when I'm out here, especially if I'm you, and like you guys aren't on camera, even Kyle and Bryce, you guys aren't on camera all the darn time. You get to go in the garage sometimes and enjoy life. I don't. But if I wasn't on camera all the time, I would have this on probably 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week. I'd be out here piddling around with my TV on all the time, or music on. Again, I don't get to do it as much because of how much we're using the camera, but I really, really value audio in the garage. I really, really value the ability to turn on a movie in the garage, especially when I'm doing a full detail project. I'm going to do it in the studio at HQ this time, because that's when I really do a big, long detail project, and sometimes the camera isn't on. Mm-hmm. And so this garage is the first time I decided to do full 5-channel surround sound in here, and it is sublime. But what we would do, oftentimes we can do a system that's a few $100s, with a pair of like AM3s from PSB. But I feel like there are certain speakers that do well in the garage and some that don't.
We spec out a lot of the LYD series.
Yeah.
Or if somebody wants to go big, the core stuff, like you have at HQ.
So I love Dynaudio in the garage because Silk Dome Tweeter tends to do really well in a bright environment. One of the things I'd love to do in this garage next is do a bunch of acoustic treatments that'll warm it up a bit. Mm-hmm. You can hear the echo in my voice here. But AV is the last thing I think you do. You want to plan for it, especially if like a garage like this where I need to make sure that I can get the wires where they need to go if I'm putting walls up or something like that. But AV I think is one of the last things you would choose, but one of the most rewarding when you do invest.
The setup at the garage in California that we're going to do is going to be sick.
Yeah.
5.2 with a full core setup.
Yeah, full passive core, surround sound. That's what I'm going to do in our studio there, is do a center channel and do the 2 rears. It's going to be amazing. So I talked Fred into doing that, and it'll be worth the juice will be worth the squeeze on that one. So you look at these things in a garage when you're designing. It's rather simple. You got lighting, flooring, cabinets, things that go in the cabinet, pressure washer, lift, and it seems rather simple, but there's a lot that goes into planning. Am I going to do, conditioning? How am I going to do that with the rest of the house? You can't just duct it with the rest of the house. You'd have to have dampers. You can't just put in regular AC that's attached to the regular part of the house. So thinking these things through, or even something as simple as us coming out and doing let's say you had a nice 3-car garage or 2-car garage. There's a lot that goes into it, and in order to make it a really great functional space, takes some screwing it up. And many of us, I've been so fortunate that I've built a business around this, but many of us, you can't screw it up. You don't want to screw it up. I think we can help you avoid a lot of that stuff just from the years and years of doing things and figuring out what works best. Any other input, Kyle? Anything else you can think of that?
Yeah, I think your last thought there of, the simplicity of what the garage kind of looks like at the end. You know, it kind of seems like it's going to be simple, or even the end result looks simple. Like we noticed that at the Atlanta project. It's like after all of that work and
anybody can
everything
do
went
this,
in,
yeah.
it's like, it looks so simple, but it took so much work on the back end, or on the front end, I guess, to get to that result. And, you know, hours and hours and hours of planning and design, and, you know, working with contractors, you know, coordinating with the homeowners, contractors, and electricians and stuff like that. So the earlier you can get in on design, the better, because then we can really help you work through the entire process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an important distinction that, you know, in order to make things look simple, it takes a lot of planning ahead of time, or it takes a lot of thought process. And we can save you a lot of money by us, you know, sharing what we've learned over the years and doing garages and putting them together.
We're constantly improving.
Yeah.
Like me and Scott and Brooke and Ed and Donnie, like we're constantly having conversations of, hey, how do we make this better? How do we provide better information on this? How do we better, you know, provide better documentation on this other thing or whatever? So constant improvement. Yeah.
So garage giveaway ends tonight. I'm really excited for somebody. Oh gosh, I hope somebody has a cool garage that we can do. I hope it's not too big. I hope it's not too small. I hope it's in a cool place. Whatever it is. I mean, that's the risk I take when we throw it out there to say, hey, let's do a garage. I'd love to do more of these. I feel like if we did 2 or 3 of these a year, then they would be really highly subscribed. So even though, you know, I don't expect this one to make lots of money, I think that there'll be a worthwhile investment in our time to do the next one and the next one. Because giving away cars is fun, but to me, the anchor of my obsession anyway is the garage. The car just goes in it. You know, the lighting is what lights it. You know, the flooring is something we need to have. The tools go in it. My house is attached to this thing. You know, this is the anchor. In fact, I want to build another one, you know, that's next to it, where the garage dwarfs the house. I want to do that same thing. OGHQ, to me, the HQ is there attached to the garage that we're going to build in there. And so, you know, I want an office next to my garage. All those things connect to the anchor of the obsession. And so all of these years of chasing and learning, I think is where our real value subset is. And we're doing something, I think, unique that, you know, that the rest of the world doesn't. And I think that some of us, like the people watching this, really want us to do this. So more stuff coming on the design front of different garages. We have a really cool series coming up where we're going to go out to that garage we've been talking about and putting that together, very similar to the Atlanta project, but a completely different style, completely different look. We'll be doing this garage giveaway, and I'm sure a bunch more. We'd also like to start doing, we have some plans to go out and do some like Matterport, you know, 3D renders of some of the garages that Kyle's worked on, and provide people more and more resources for more and more ideas. You know, one of my favorite sites to go to is, what's the site? Howells, where you can go and look at, you know, different, if you're looking at laundry rooms or something like that. And sure enough, there's no laundry room like what I would want that exists. You know, sure enough, you can go to Howells and look at garages, or you can go look Garage Journal, and there just aren't many garages that are like this. And so I want to create that resource, you know, over time, where we can create a resource where people can go and get ideas. It's just fun to look at, fun to dream. This garage to me is a dream. You know, it's a dream that's come to reality. Even the cars in it, you know, are dreams come to reality. And I think that the key to, you know, having a, you know, successful life is to live in the journey. And so, you know, this is a dream realized. I'm enjoying it, and I'm here present in it. And then the next step would be, you know, just part of the journey, you know, building the next garage. So that's why I have some plans to build that, you know, right next to this and see what it looks like. And then who knows, maybe the next house and the next house. But just imagine, we're going to come out, me, Kyle, Mike, we're going to come out there, do your garage. I'm going to fly you here, take you to dinner, sit down. What do you want?
It's going to be so cool.
Get you anything you want within reason. and we're gonna, you know, make choices and build you in a garage that it's gonna hopefully make you realize your dreams even quicker than maybe you otherwise could have. That's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that'll be cool to take you to the next like ultimate level. You know, those people or whoever wins. So.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I want to do this live stream for you today. Bryce, any questions before we adjourn?
Just a couple in here. Let's see. A bunch of stuff like, oh, if I had like a Tesla house thing, would you guys do that in the garage or?
Yeah, so that they had Tesla Powerwalls. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do the install on that, but we could certainly work with them to incorporate it. If they have Powerwalls or, you know, Tesla chargers, we can figure out. In most areas, if we're doing a Tesla charger, I mean, you could choose to allocate some of your money, and we can just hire an electrician to come do it. You know, Mike could do it, but we can't legally do that because we're not licensed. We can cut some corners, but generally speaking, we would want to, if you're going to do something like that.
We could coordinate with you during the design process to help figure that out and all of that, so.
Yeah, but you know, if you're an electric car enthusiast and you want to make sure that we do have a Mosmatic boom pole solution we could come up with where you can swivel your power across, you know, over top of the car. But there's all kinds of cool things we can come up with for you. For sure.
People like, what if we just built a metal shed for $30,000 and you put the rest of the money?
No.
We don't got time to build a shed.
Yeah, you're talking about, we have like 6 or 8 days to do this, right? So I can't come out there and live with you for 3 months while we're building the garage. You either have to have a garage, or we're going to give you the 50 grand. You know, that's the way it's going to be.
Some people were like, well, what if we need like drywall work done and other stuff like that?
We can talk about it, but I'm not going to drywall a 1,200 square foot garage. You know,
what if they need to like cut out or do blocking? Or
like when we did Emmanuel's garage, that was like 3/4 of the work was the drywall and electrical and painting and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk to the winner and figure out what makes sense. But yeah, if you've got some shack that we have to rebuild, we're not gonna be roofing and and putting in plumbing and stuff like that. We've got to have a base to work with. The prototype. You had a garage like this, and we're gonna outfit it. We're going to show up.
A lot of people, it's like, well, I have a detached garage and there's no power or plumbing out there. And it's like,
well, you get it there, and then I'll come out there and we'll put the stuff in the flooring, lighting, cabinets.
If you can't get it done, well, you're going to have to take the money.
Yeah.
We had that issue before.
Right. Yeah. So we got to do this one within reason, and I'll push the limits. What's possible. But what we have to do is we have to design it, order everything, have it there, ready. So we're going to come live in a hotel, for 5, 6, 7, 8 days, whatever, it takes, but I can't come live there for 3 months.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. No one cares about that kind of thing. I need to, in order for this to work, I need to make it interesting, for the world. So, we're looking for somebody to have like a normal circumstance within reason,
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get your 50 grand and you can get you started in life.
Yeah. You build the garage, not us.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm garage. I'm gonna build a garage for 30.
My dad's garage instead.
No. No, the problem is we had that with the last guy that won the garage, and he tried to give it to somebody, but that person doesn't give a crap about what we do. I need you to be into it.
It was like if I won it and I wanted to give it
non-transferable.
to you.
Yeah. Then we're giving you the 50 grand, and you can transfer your 50 grand to that person.
Tell your dad to enter.
Yeah.
You have him spend his money.
Right.
You give it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big, let's do simple here. Let's not make this too complicated.
Yeah. I don't see much more.
Cool. Well, anyway, a little impromptu evening walkthrough. I wanted to walk through my garage, show you what could be, and just imagine, imagine I called your name. Imagine I called your name, Kyle. Wouldn't you freaking crap your pants?
Gosh.
Start crying, yelling.
100%. Yeah.
I have to ask some questions if you win, Kyle.
Right. Yeah,
Like,
I
all
mean,
right, yeah, I don't work for Obsessed Garage.
I mean,
what are you
Bryce, I
talking
mean,
about?
this is what you do, and you have access to buy it all at
I may
cost.
have gotten an entry with this with this shirt. I don't know.
And you buy it, everything. You guys get things at cost, and it would completely change your life. I mean, it would be insane.
One guy just emailed me who's super pumped. He just bought the garage design service, which gets you into the garage giveaway.
Oh, okay, nice.
And it's like $3,000 for the giveaway version of it.
Okay.
And then you get like a printout of, like draw your garage out. And
So he's gonna have pretty good
we'll
odds.
we'll send you a print. So he's probably got better odds than anybody.
So if somebody is going to do a garage, in the next year or so, and they go on and they sign up and they pay for it now, it does get them 3,000 entries, basically.
Yeah, you got to buy the garage giveaway specific version because that gets you the little extra on there.
And then worst case, you're going through the process with the team
Yeah.
and designing your garage, and then you're going to spend $100,000, yourself, or $50,000 or something. Or if you get lucky, you win, and then we're going to give you that $2,500 back in tenfold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or fourfold, if you will. So anyway, thanks for all the support, everyone who has entered. I wish you luck. I hope that you win, and I hope that if we continue to be able to make these things a success, we can keep doing them. I'm not a lottery player. I'm not a proponent of wasting money. We try to do it. If you're going to buy it, you buy a shirt, it's going to be probably the best shirt you have. If you buy one of the tchotchkes we have in there, it's something reasonable. I hate to say it, Bryce, but that stupid seat cover that Lewis came up with, I've got it in my car. Right, all my cars have the seat covers. I use them all the time for when I go to the gym and I'm all sweaty. So the stupid coffee that people keep buying.
Sold a lot of guys, like almost 300 bags.
So yeah, I mean, stuff like that. Cutting boards. The cutting boards are insane.
They're friggin' really cool.
They're so good. Yeah. Actually, I blew off our cutting board meeting that I had set up for today to do this live stream, so I gotta get back on that. But we've always tried to do good stuff. Even that darn Gerber knife, I love that. It's my favorite freaking knife. I got all these fancy
Why'd
knives.
you bring that up?
So,
The comments are gonna explode now.
so anyway,
People heard you.
yeah, go to obsessedgarage.com. Get entered to win, and I hope to call your name. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon. We'll have video tonight. Last update before we take our little hiatus this week on the LZ project, and then Mike, and I will be back at LZ till we're done. 2 or 3 weeks, so we're done. And the really cool stuff is all going to be coming together over the next couple of weeks, as well as us. LZ is going to be pretty involved, and we're going to make him come out and do all kinds of fun stuff, teach me how to drift, stuff like that. So you're really going to want to pay attention the next couple months. And like I said, this would be a great way to enter. Go sign up to be Inside of the Hex member. I'm going to shoot a video tonight talking about, I forget what you guys have been sending me topics for Hexcast, which I really like it when you do that. It helps me think through some stuff. So get signed up for that, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.